found Revney Grillante a week ago. You've probably seen him in the background of some of my videos as of late, but I haven't opened him yet for one reason. I like him so much that I kinda don't want to open him up. Revney Grillante is a Vern's taxi cab that appears very briefly at the beginning and end of Cars 2. Everyone knows about Vern, the taxi that appears in the first Cars movie going into the LA Speedway. He got a diecast all the way back in 2009 or 2010. I believe it was 2010 first. I'm pretty sure that Vern's is a reference to a taxi service that the people of Pixar would take to work every day. I remember hearing that somewhere at that point. And nobody really realized that there was another Vern's taxi in Cars 2, this white one that we now know as Revney Grillante. He was a really cool, obscure background detail that I always loved spotting in Cars 2, and I felt like he was something that really not all that many people knew about. Because of that, he became sort of a pipe dream for me in regards to him becoming a diecast. This has been one of my most wanted Cars diecasts for an incredibly long time. In fact, I believe you could see him in the first ever episode of Cars That Should Be Made, alongside the VR headset trainees who, at least one, also came out this year. But Revney has been one of my most wanted Cars for years and years and years, and I never thought that we would ever get him. So it's so crazy to see this be a new release for 2022, and Revney has immediately skyrocketed to probably become one of my all-time favorite Cars diecasts. Anyway guys, welcome back to yet another review. Today we're finally going to be taking a look at Revney Grillante, the Vern's taxi cab from Cars 2. He appears at the beginning of the movie in the Wheelwell Motel, next to Colin Borev, who I reviewed a few weeks back, and he also appears later on at Flo's when Mater is telling his story at the end. I actually don't think I was aware that Revney was at the Wheelwell until his diecast came out. Very nice artwork, much like Vern. Of course, we don't actually see the front of Revney in the movie, so this is all we see of him. Funny thing is, the Meet the Cars bio for Vern himself says that he is the owner, or not Meet the Cars, the Car Finder bio says he's the owner and operator of Vern's taxi service. Guess he hired on at least one other worker by the time of Cars 2. We have as seen in Cars 2 with Chisaki, Francesco, Otis, Lewis Hamilton, Sarge, Sheriff, and Ramon Green. Or as people who have proper grammar call him, Artist Ramon. But yeah, of course, Revney, new release from Cars 2. Look, he's even on my new background. That's how much I like him. Alright, so let's get this guy out of the package, and here he is. So here is Revney out of the package, and he is a very vibrant shade of white. Like, he is a very bright shade of white, especially when compared to some other Cars characters who are painted white, like, say, Paul Conrev. Revney here really sticks out as this bright white color, which I guess you've got to stick out when you're a taxi, right? You might be wondering, Ty, how the heck would taxis work in the Cars universe, right? In real life, you get inside of a taxi and they take you where you want to go. I've always subscribed to the theory that in the Cars universe, people follow taxis. So if somebody needs directions, Revney knows the area, and they follow him to where they need to go. Speaking of being subscribed to things, like how I said I was subscribed to that theory, you should subscribe to this channel. Shameless plug over, let's move on. Revney has a really interesting expression. I would say it isn't what I expected his face to look like. It's not what I expected his expression to be, especially because we don't see his face in the movie. I would expect just a generic smile. I think I may have preferred that, but I kind of like that he gets a unique, different looking expression. As for what emotion he's portraying, I don't know. He kind of looks like he just realized he's from Cars 2 and is just trying to cope with that. We, of course, have the little Vern's taxi cab thing sticking out of the top. Revney looks like a pretty familiar mold. I'm not sure exactly what mold he is. I think he may be a repaint of Sarah, the camera car from last year. Although instead of, a place to attach the camera, he has this little divot in the roof to fit the Vern's sign. Of course, the Vern sign is plastic attached to the metal mold. But yeah, definitely a familiar mold. Definitely a mold that we've seen several times before, I believe. Definitely let me know in the comments if you know specifically the details on who else has used this mold. We have Vern's Taxi and then a phone number there, which I assume is not an active number. It doesn't even give you like a full number. But we have the V there, and this is the same V logo that's on the back of Vern from the first Cars movie, although of course in a different color scheme. I don't know what Vern's Taxi color scheme I prefer. I don't have the original Vern to be here to compare to Revney. I like that they're two different color schemes. Again, I believe this is based off of a real taxi service that is used where Pixar is located. So maybe by the time Cars 2 came out, they changed how their taxis looked to have this color scheme instead. Not too sure. His license plate reads 903HJ. Looks like it says California up there. I don't know. You can't really make out what's written, like the state names on license plates anymore, ever since the Thailand switch over. When Thailand first switched over, all the decals were super blurry. Nowadays, they've really cleared up, except for the license plates. It's still hard to read that. There is a look at the other side, and there is a look at the base. So there you have it, guys. Revney Grillante, once again, easily one of my favorite releases from this year. One of my favorite releases in a while, and that's saying something because there have been a lot of very, very solid new releases lately. This one I just think is very special for what he is and what he represents. He's the other Vern's Taxi, a car that I never thought we would see, and I think it's so awesome that we have him. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye now.